What's good, y'all? Hello, hello, hello. What's good with y'all? What's good with y'all? So we are back, and a lot has happened since we last saw each other. A lot has happened. A lot has happened. A lot has happened. I would say a lot has happened. I would have to say, yeah. So we got some things we're gonna talk about. Reload. Um, we got some things, man. We got some things. We got some things. I hope your I hope your day has been well. As you see, I'm a little tired. Today was a gym day. We worked out 3 days a week. Body getting back used to doing that. And let's get to our disclaimer because it's 10 o'clock. Some of y'all have to go to work tomorrow. So if you do attend this screen, shout out to you if you attended. Let's get our disclaimer. Did I get the hard drive, guys? I did not get the hard drive. I need the hard drive. I'll be back. Okay. Had to get a hard drive. Let's do our disclaimer. You know, some people have a short attention span these days. Gotta get your attention before you change your mind. We doing this again. Fixing the mouse, fixing the mouse. Is it working? It's not working. Is it working? Weird. This is being weird with me, guys. I should use this. It's not working with me. Y'all gonna be like, what is he doing? Trying to get the mouse right. Trying to get the mouse right. Let me know if y'all can hear me when y'all come in. So, disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. If y'all can hear the people in this door, hotel, I'm sorry. I hope you can't hear them. Really hope you can't hear them. Disclaimer, there it goes. Disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose an institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of Creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Now we got the fun part out of the way, right? Get that down for now. Let me see. First thing is first. College student athletes are officially paid. They're paid. So I seen this guy posted on. He posted on LinkedIn. Once again, shout out to LinkedIn, y'all. If you think somebody's not watching on your LinkedIn, they peeping. And you know, I like LinkedIn because it tells you when people look at your account or look at your page. I like that. And so I'm waiting for the computer to stop its buffering because it is not. Oh, I can't hear that. Yeah, I probably can't hear that. The walkers break down. These are break in. So let's see. I don't know what that is. What this computer is doing. Resources. We almost there. Okay. Thomas Anderson had posted about athletes going pro, sort of getting paid. So I took the initiative because I'm like, where is he getting this from? I took the initiative to actually go and get the letter. I read the letter a little bit before I hopped on because I've been busy with work and exercising today. And then I had to work over the weekend. So I haven't really had, you probably see my eyes a little red. I haven't really had any time to read a little bit. So I'm like, maybe I'll just read it with them again on the live screen. Get a little time in with them. And so I was like, let's do it. And so student athletes are officially paid. And so I'm going to state how I feel about it after looking at it a little bit. Then I'm going to tell you what I feel is going to happen and how I feel like everything's going to play out and what might happen and not happen and how, most of all, how does it benefit students, not just students who are athletes, but students, all students, because this affects all students in a way. Mostly my student athletes or my athletes. Yeah. So let's see. So the part that really caught my attention was that they said going forward, the defendant conferences will be responsible for implementing several elements of the settlement, including the design and enforcement of the annual 22.5% cap, approximately 20.5 million approximately 20.5 million in 1 year for financial benefits a Division One school may direct to student athletes. So a school, a college, your favorite school that is Division One. Most of these schools, this is per ncaa.org. I am getting this from the horse's mouth. I am getting this from president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker. I am getting it from him. They are saying an institution is authorized, from what I'm seeing, that they are authorized to give students 20 point, not students, but of all, they only allocate 20.5 million in 1 year for financial benefits a Division One school may direct to student athletes, as we said. So they only can, out of that 20.5 million, that's what y'all do for the athletes, give them. So it said, in addition, the court maintains a jurisdiction over the implementation of the settlement, and the plaintiffs will continue to track progress. The defendant conferences, all right, we ain't gonna do all that. That getting a little too lawful. It says the defendant conferences are responsible for launching and enforcing a series of rules regarding the third party NIL contract student athletes may enter into. So that means, hey, y'all can't get, it sounds like they can't just get any type of, am I good? Okay. It sounds like they can't get just any type of NIL deal. So whoever, the school, so the third party is always like how I look at it at least. Y'all know if I break that down. Y'all know that. Y'all know what third party is. So the student, the school, whoever they getting that money from, it gotta be, hey, we want our hand in that. That's what it sounds like. They want their hand in it. And when they get their hand in it, well, first of all, I skipped the part. They said a series of rules. So I don't know. Back when I'll say back in 2021, 2022, when I was talking about higher education, I remember in the NCAA putting a lot of people in place to police the NIL deals because the NILs were just reckless and kind of still is reckless. They just throwing out money, right? Student athletes should be paid. Simple as that, right? If they generated all the tickets for a fan base, like these college students have fan bases, and if they wasn't careful, somebody is literally obsessed with them, right? And they're in college. They're trying to focus on their schoolwork, but they have people who don't even, they just, yeah, you have people out there who disregard that they are in college. like some of these kids are fresh out of high school and then they're jumping into a spotlight. Some of them have a spotlight in high school. We know this, right? So, boom, boom, boom. It says beyond the rules that will be managed by the defendant conferences, Division One will continue to regulate in key areas, eligibility, playing, seasons. Well, we ain't that deep into student athletes, right? Sports, because this is we like sports, but we not gonna get carried away. Cause y'all can go watch ESPN or these other platforms if you want to be entertained or very entertained. Um, dun, 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 as I'm going through. So this is key. It says together the NCAA, the defendant conferences, and the Division One membership have identified the existing NCAA rules that must change to reflect the settlement. These include replacing scholarship limits with roster limits. I don't know exactly what that means a little bit. Let me keep reading. These include replacing scholarship limits. They're going to replace scholarship limits with roster limits. So, it's, so instead of giving scholarship limits, they are going to do roster limits. A change that will enable schools to vastly increase the scholarship opportunities for student athletes receive and potentially double the number of athletic scholarships made available to women and potentially double the number of athletic scholarships made available to women. So if somebody's going to get NIL money, they're not going to get a scholarship. That's what I'm taking from it. That's what I'm taking from it. And I was like about that noise over there. They real. I'm in the boonies a little bit, y'all. I'm in the country. I'm in the country. I'm in the boonies, a rural area. And they said they're going to take away the student athlete. So that's good. So I like that. So that's like I guess pertaining to student athletes only. If you're a student athlete, you have a better chance at getting the scholarship if you're not going to be an NIL player, like asking for money, and then they're going to let you have a chance to get on the team, open up more. Well, they said they're going to limit the. Let me make sure I read that right. They said they was going to limit with roster limits. They replacing scholarship limits with roster limits. So harder to make the team, but if you make it and you're not an NIL player, you still have a chance at getting a scholarship. So we can give out more scholarships along with more money. That's what I'm getting from it. So I see one person stopping by. If you hear I'm sorry if you hear that next door. That's, you know how you got rooms next to you in the hotel. I'm sorry. And so they said this is an exciting moment for everyone involved in college sports. Of course, we know that. Blah blah blah. They said that the NCAA will be able to move away from certain enforcement activity that, despite the efforts of many, wasn't working well. Rather, we will focus on further enhancing what is working. So, getting with the times, they're trying to stay real like with the times, with the speed. You know, college students want money nowadays. College students are like, I need to help pay mom. I need mom need help with bills, or dad need help, family need help. So they trying to keep up because I'm not big in this. I'm a little big in the sports world, but not heavy in the sports world. It's a bit different, right? And you know, we saw athletes taking money routes over education routes. And I'm all about the education, so I feel like this is a way to get y'all back in school. If you can make a lot of money early, it's a way to get you. I got a ball right there. It's a way to get you in school because education is key. If the sports don't work out, this education can open up your mind in ways that you cannot imagine. So they still say significant challenges remain, including attempts to force student athletes to be classified as employees despite their leadership at all levels opposing this. In addition, attacks persist on college sports' ability to set national rules regarding years of eligibility. the policies that enable the next generation of people to access educational and athletic and opportunities. And it says, and states continue to undercut one another in a race to the bottom by challenging the ability of the NCAA and conferences to establish and enforce rules that maintain level playing fields. The NCAA and college sports leaders have made tremendous positive change in recent years, but only Congress can address these issues. So, and we said here we will work to show Congress why the settlement is both a massive win for student athletes and a roadmap to the legislative reform. The Division One decision making working group will complete its work building the new governance structure. Yeah, it needs some structure on stuff. And Division One Council and Board of Directors. Remember, everything has a board of directors. The NCAA is a company. The NCAA is a company, and they have a board of directors. So whoever is the president for the NCAA, which is not attached to higher education, is NCAA is its own entity that runs a sport. It's like a company that runs a big sports agency for college sports, college schools. So, and they said the board of directors will take action on necessary policies to implement the settlement. And they say yes, this all means change, and change at the scale is never easy because some college coaches have retired because they don't agree that that's why I said all leadership. A lot of college coaches, directors, or whatever do not agree that students should be paid to play a college sport that generates billions of dollars, which is really weird. Um, it's an interesting perspective, right? A higher education coach is how it relates to us. This is how it relates to speaking on behalf, right? Speaking on your behalf, right? Because a college coach can make money in higher education, right? And you got college coaches out there that are not having winning records. Yes, I'm talking about you, college coach. So if you play this clip and you see this part, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry at the same time. Bryson Tiller. And so some of these coaches out here got losing records, making millions of dollars that could go back into the school in some form or fashion to help those students who are not student athletes, by the way. So before you complain about students getting paid to help your losing record, or even a coach who has a winning record, think about if that player decided, maybe think about if all the players decided not to play on your team and they decided to go play somewhere else, how your income would look. You think you would want them to get paid a little bit now? Because the players were just going to go somewhere else. It's nah, you got to get with it. Like, so the players are going to get paid. How would the money be split up? Once again, the guy on LinkedIn, his name is Thomas Anderson. He said 2.8 billion will be paid back to former athletes, but we really cared about the 20 million annually per school, which means the schools will have money going to student athletes, 20 million. And the new model will begin as soon as 2025, 26. He said that, Thomas Anderson. He seems like he's a college sports leader. He claims to be. I see him on LinkedIn. His stuff be pretty accurate when I go fact check it a little bit, real quick, like I just did. He also talked about will non-revenue schools survive? And so he talks about like what happened to the. He said something pretty much like what will happen to other sports. So if you do a sport that's not as popular in college, how would this affect our sport? Trying to distribute that money because 20 million. If we think about all the sports in college, right? Some people got away with some money, but if we think about all the money well, if we think about that 20 million going to athletes. If you got one athlete already getting 1 million, like we know we saw some college football players, for example, got millions. Like the college football player got 1 million. You still got athletes in other places and other what they call them in other sports. but their sport might not get that many views. So are you gonna close their sport down to save money, so you don't have to worry about putting money in it? I'm trying to scratch my back. And so we already at 20 minutes talking about this. Oh wow. And so it's it's weird. Like they really think, oh, it's never gonna be the same. It was never a freak. It was never college sports. It was always pro. You just threw college in front of it to act like it was a pro. Like college athletes or college like schools. These schools have these college schools institutions have freaking NFL type stadiums. The basketball team, depending how good they are, have basketball stadiums better than some NBA teams. So like it was never college. It was a pro in college. Like they just didn't want to say it, but now it's like, yo, I'm here like all the time. I go to school online. I can't even go to class because I'm here on TV. I'm interviewing like when the game is over, they're not going straight to the bus and going to the hotel. They're doing interviews and the ice and all that. So that's interesting. Now we go to the Senate rushing to pass the big, beautiful bill. They're rushing to. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? That was only two. I got a lot of my stuff from LinkedIn this time, guys. I didn't really go to it. So, where is it? Nope. Yep. Yes. Let's see, guys. As we open this up, and then when you play this, feel free to skip through. I know it's late. I know you in the bed. I know you got work or you got school. I know. I get it. Well, they said the clock is ticking for Senate Republicans as they rush to approve a sweeping bill. So this is government, politics, and elections section of Inside Higher Ed. Shout out to Inside Higher Ed for giving the nation. I believe this is factual because they have opinion at the top. So, and I think after this, we got to check the Department of Ed and see if they posted anything, guys. So, the clock is ticking. And so, once again, we got to go check the congress.gov just in case. Check the congress.gov, guys, just in case if this bill, let's see if they put some updates in it, because congress.gov tells us where this bill is at. It should be at the Senate right now, which is, inside higher ed has said that. Let's see, the one big, that's what it's called, one big beautiful bill at. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. So this one, once again, is passed and on there. Did they put any updates on past the house on May 22nd? We talked about that last time in one of our live screens. That it passed the house. So I want to see if they put any updates. It's June. Nope, don't see anything. Let's go to actions. So I'm on congress.gov. I wish you could see this, but of course, when we get the better equipment in the future, right, you'll be able to see this and see how simple it is to find this information for yourself. It's all public information. And so we'll just go back to Inspire. They don't have any. It's different, but it's in the Senate. for sure. And then let's see. So the deadline. So they allege that this one big beautiful bill that would cut about 1.3 trillion is spent over the next 10 years, and Donald Trump, this is on top of his agenda. This is on top of his agenda. He wants to have this approved by 4th of July. That is the deadline. It's June 9th. So pretty much they have to have this done and approved before the House, no, the Senate has to have this approved before July. And so they got literally this month. One beautiful bill, as we talked about, it could entirely reshape the student loan system. And so they say it will increase endowment taxes. It will force colleges to repay their students unpaid loans. It will force colleges to repay their students unpaid loans and significantly cut Medicaid and significantly cut Medicaid among, why they put it like that? Oh, among other changes. I'm thinking it said other colleges and other changes. We focus on the student, the colleges to repay their students unpaid loans. Whew. Force colleges to repay their students unpaid loans. So the way I take that, they're gonna force a college to repay their students. Force colleges to repay their students unpaid loans. They gonna let the college repay the loans. Is that true? I gotta go straight to that in this. I gotta go straight to this. So the colleges, as you know, I'm a big advocate of not borrowing money to go to college. Um, I feel everybody could get a free degree, and I understand that everybody cannot get a debt free degree in college. Man, though, making the college pay for the student loans that the students pulled out. All I can say is karma. So, if you watch some of the old screens or watch a video, I don't think I put it in video. I don't think I posted that video. It was a video I made for school as a project. And schools have, I'm going to run it the quick version, right? Schools have a preferred lender arrangement, PLA, I believe, preferred lender arrangement, where the college will, how can I put it, guys? The college has an agreement with the bank. And pretty much when you, as a college student, go to the business office, right, or something related, you're going to say, hey, you might say, I don't have enough money to pay. I might not have 5,000 to pay for the rest of this school semester, or yeah, to pay for this semester of school. Keep it simple. This semester of school. They say, oh, okay, you should go. They might recommend you a bank. They might say, nah, yeah, they might recommend you the bank, but the bank they recommend you, for example, is in partners with that university or that 2 year. And so when you take the recommendation and you wonder why you got approved so fast for a loan, it's because the school and the bank work together. Because when the bank give you the loan, I believe banks, I wish I had some bankers in here. Banks make money off of loans, right? Like that's how they make their bread and butter. And so when the bank gives you the loan, you take the loan and put it back into the school. And guess what? The school makes what? The money. And then on top of that, you get to keep their student, which helps the what? Retention rate. And what else? It also increases the enrollment rate, because this can be a scenario you're trying to enroll. This could be a scenario where if you don't enroll, if you thinking about leaving the school, that can hurt the retention rate. So it's trying to retain and enroll, or enroll and retain. And so it builds a, how can I put it? It builds a false database in my eyes. Because if the student constantly pulling out loans, what if they can't pull out loans? And what if students are like, what if they start spreading the word like, look, big, what if they're out like, they have this thing set up where they want you to go to this bank and get this loan because the school isn't partnering with this bank. Or what if the students just catch on like, don't fall for it. They're gonna tell you to go get this money and money. Oh, that's right, it already happened because we're in $1.7 trillion of debt. See how it makes sense? And so it's in the Higher Education Act of 1965. And so even when they re-updated it or updated it, I said re-updated it. When they updated it, it's still in there. And so it's gonna hurt. I feel like that's not a good strategy. And that's just one of them. That's not even the main one. That's just one of them. That if you don't have the money, oh, the school, I don't know who idea was that, oh, this school, this university to your college is going to partner with this bank. And then it will help I can see that playing out, and that is not a good idea. So now they have to pay back. So the college is going to have to pay back those loans for you, whoever put out loans. So does that make sense? That sounds crazy, right? The school is going to pay back the student. That is crazy. Like the schools are being punished. Now I see why they're like schools are trying to tighten up. The budgets are tightening. Schools are trying to like figure out how to best go about this. Crazy, right? Let's take a water break. Crazy, right? That is crazy. So let's keep looking. Oh, I didn't see that. So wow. It says House Republicans want to use risk sharing. I've seen that before. A strategy that would require colleges and universities to pay a fee each year based on the amount of loans their graduates or those who left without a degree have failed to repay. Hold up. I don't like when they put stuff like that together. It don't flow right. House Republicans want to use risk sharing. Now I'm not big on the risk sharing. I heard about it a little bit, but I'm not that big on it. It says a strategy that would require colleges and universities to pay a fee each year based on the amount of loans their graduates have failed to repay and the ones who left without a degree. So if charging that fee each year, are they going to charge the students in the college? That would be my question. Are they going to charge us for a fee that they so-called saying they're going to charge the colleges and universities? That's my question. I don't want to pay for their fee, especially if I ain't pull out no loans. I don't want to pay for nobody else's. I don't want to pay for nobody else's fee because they didn't finish school or didn't get their degree. That's not fair. I wonder if they're gonna do that. That would be a good question to ask. But it says, but the formula for calculating that fee is complicated, and colleges have a lot of questions about how it works and whether it's fair. I just said that too. The congregational budget office estimated that these risk sharing payments would total 1.3 billion by 2034, and they continue to increase annually. It says, meanwhile, the lowering The Lowering Education Costs Act calls for a plan similar to the Gainful Employment Rule, a metric that ties colleges' financial aid eligibility to their students' earnings and debt levels. The idea was first introduced by President Obama, scrapped by President Trump in his first term, and then expanded by President Biden. Okay, let's sound it a little liberal. That sounded a little democratic. I'm not gonna lie. That sounded a little democratic. You know, we nonpartisan, so I would have to fact check that. They put the links in here. They put the links in here. I will say that they put the links in here. because I was like, huh. They said it was scrapped. This was written in 2014, March 16th. In 2014, March 2014, I was a freshman in high school. That is crazy. Things are hurt. Things in life can hurt you before you even graduate, before you even have a right to vote or anything, right? Things can already be hurting you and you don't know it, right? We're gonna keep going. It says under the gainful employment, because that's what we just read. It says under the gainful employment. Colleges will have to show their graduates. Colleges will have to show their graduates make more than someone with, hold on, what? Under gainful employment, colleges will have to show that their graduates make more than someone with a high school diploma and that their loan payments will be affordable. I had to fix that a little bit. It was a little messed up. So they would have to show that their graduates make more than someone with a high school diploma and that their loan payments will be affordable. If a college ever fails, if a college ever falls below those thresholds, it could access to all federal student aid. Whoa. I see my vein come out when I did that. So you telling me schools didn't have no structure on that? So they could have been using false information. Your college could have been using false information just to get your financial aid money because it's free money. You might think, guys, at the time, financial aid hit some highs, it dropped, but it stayed high. Financial aid right now, unless this bill gets passed, financial aid is 7 grand a year for the match student. If a student don't get the match, they're still giving out free money. The school gets the free money into their institution as income and revenue. So you gotta think, how many colleges are there in the United States? 2 year, 4 year, private. It's free money. So some schools we're gonna stay on the public, right? Private has their own set of boundaries. They do what they want. They're private. And so their privacy. You see how that works? So public schools, I always seen that we always talk about the 10-year median, right? When we do the end of the school review. So schools are really gonna have to, I guess schools want to show and prove that, hold on. I guess that's what the administration is saying, like Linda, Trump and them. They're like, hold on, wait. How is these students having a great return on investment, but this they might pull out an example like a student. They might say, wait, they scratch their head like me. They like, hold on. This student went to school for, once again, I'm sorry, art people. I know y'all make a lot of money, but I got to use art because it's something that is just known to be one of the worst degrees according to stats and research. But every degree is important, and it should be no worst degree, right? So you going to school for art, but you're not really there yet. And at the base of the time, there you might be asking certain students, right? Let's remember when people do this, they have to admit to how much they make based from getting their degree. So if you did go to school for art, how much are you making from my institution now that you're doing art? After leaving this, they have to, it's like anonymous, yeah. It's like they're not showing their face. They're anonymous. I hope I said it right. Yeah. And so it's another word for it though. I learned in graduate school, and that's why I almost thought I said it wrong because it's a very fancy word. I had to get help from Al because Al was like, "It's that, that, that." I was like, "How you know that?" And so they have to show proof. I guess they wasn't showing proof before. They were just up with some numbers, I guess. And so It says the higher education lobbyists are generally more supportive of the Senate's anticipated proposal, but they note that while it's much lesser evil than risk sharing, concerns remain, especially about how it would affect institutions. They said when the data is not available, we are operating off concepts and ideas, said Emmanuel Glulery, Senior Director of Government Relations at the American Council on Education. The American Council on Education keeps popping up in these articles. Definitely gonna have to go to their website some more. It says other key issues inside this article, other key issues to watch. What is less certain, policy experts noted, is whether the Senate will sign off on the House plan. I think the Senate will sign off, personally. I don't know them like that, or I haven't even seen their face probably, but it seems like the Senate will sign off on the House plans to consolidate student loan repayment plans, cap loans, increase endowment taxes, and change who is eligible for the Pell Grant. We talked about that in our 1 hour screens. It says, for example, while the House proposed waiving borrowers' interest, that would be nice to waive the people who got interest rates on their loans. They said they thought about the House proposed waiving the borrower's interest if their monthly income based payment isn't enough to cover. Because then it's like, I don't make enough, but y'all keep raising the interest. You ain't never gonna get your money. It says, isn't enough to cover what's owed and forgiving remaining debt after 30 years of payment. So they said, let me read that again because I stopped. The House thought about waiving the interest if your monthly income base isn't enough to cover. It says, and then it also says, forgiving remaining debt after 30 years of payment. So if you made payments for 30 years and you still ain't pay it off, but you gave them all that money, they said they would forgive you. They thought about that. Or this is what potentially how it could play out in this big beautiful bill. Cassidy's legislation would, who is Cassidy? Cassidy's legislation would create a more traditional plan where students accrue interest but all forgive after 20 or 25 years of payment. Same thing. Then they're getting into the Parent Plus loans, the grad and Parent Plus loans. They're talking about Cassidy again. And they said overall, it's hard to know exactly where Senate will fall on most issues, especially because, unlike during most sessions, it seems the House has the upper hand. So they said they think the person who wrote this is, by the way, worked for the Inside Higher Ed, Jessica Blake. Jessica Blake says, I think the Senate would like a lot of back and forth compromise, but they are feeling more and more pressure from the House to make fewer changes in order to get the bill passed quicker and to meet that July 4th deadline, he said. And so what we got from that wasn't that long at all compared to the articles I read in school. Senate is rushing to pass it. Uh, the Senate, guys, first and foremost, the Senate is rushing to pass it. I really got it. Me and my people, we thought about actually on the side, me and my people, we thought about setting aside time, having like I would say a friend, friends hang out. We were gonna sit because we don't. Me and Al ain't got no couch right now. We knew we wasn't gonna be in that apartment for a minute. Knew we wasn't gonna be in it that long, right? I was like, why should we get friends? And so we're thinking about just sitting on the floor because we be having guests come over, and we have a blow up air mattress for them, big one too. And we thinking about sitting in the middle of the floor with some wine and reading over the big beautiful bill act because it's like 30 pages. Now, granted, I do read, but this is like policies and things like that, so it's not in like regular English terminology. And we're thinking about just going through it and reading it, highlighting what we feel is important. Because the one big beautiful bill, I can say one thing: people can write these all they want, but unless you read that policy itself, there's always something somebody can pull out of there and use it against you. And schools, I don't see anything wrong if it's really like that. I don't see nothing wrong with these colleges paying that money back. Now, colleges should pay the money back, but on the flip side, if the colleges have to pay back student loans for students who pulled them out because students are not paying them, that can mean your higher education costs can go up. That's what it means. Because remember, the Trump administration slash the Department of Education wants to put the power back into the states as far as education. But more of all, we're focusing on higher education. If they want to give the power back to the states, then the state can have its choice. Whatever state you're in can have their choice on like, hey, look, it's all they talk. Politicians, colleges, because college and politicians, they talk. Some switch careers, they go back and forth. And they might say, hey, look, my institution gonna have to pay all this money because of what the Trump administration did. They said, hey, I want to raise the tuition costs on the tuition per credit hour. And then they might say, well, let me get my charger, guys, so my laptop don't die on y'all. But I can keep going real quick. They said, well, okay, because I guess it's gonna be up to the state, aka the governor. If not the governor, somebody else who the governor left in charge, and make that decision. And so, depending on the government structure, we can see higher education getting more expensive. If the institution get those loans back for the students who didn't get their degree, it's gonna look real cloudy. Just don't see a world. I just personally don't see a world where a college is going to pay back loans on students who finished their degree or who left the institution. I just don't see a world where those schools do that. And I just don't see a world where the schools do that out the kind of their heart and keep prices the same in higher education. I just don't. Because the way the administration is going by, the Trump administration, they just want their money. They just trying to clean up a lot of debt and they want their money. So prices in higher education, once again, could potentially go up if those schools have to pay back those loans for students who didn't finish school. And it might be a tough pill for people to swallow because that could lead into layoffs like we've been seeing in higher education. People don't really care too much about it because they don't work in higher education. It's a lot of layoffs. Some schools might have to put buildings up for sale. Like they're liquidating. It's literally liquidating. When you get rid of it, you put buildings up for sale, you close sports programs. That's liquidating. That is a form of like, hey, we're cutting our expenses. We're cutting things that don't make us money. If things don't make us money, you're gone. That's what's going on right now in higher education that nobody's talking about. Now, students, once again, it affects you because if the prices go up at these schools, you need to know how to navigate. You need to know I need to start at a 2 year and go to a 4 year because these mostly like universities that's gonna get hit because most universities usually get the kids with student loans. Kids who go to 2 years, some get loans when they go to a 2 year, but most don't. I'm gonna say majority don't. I know majority don't. It's when they transfer they do. So university is gonna be like, we raising our prices. So then this is the time where you need to make a business, financial, personal decision and say, I'm not going to no university because they might, I'm telling you, the university or this state school might have to increase their tuition. I'm not exaggerating. It might increase it by 10%. I'm not the financial expert person. It might increase that tuition per credit hour. Your tuition might increase by 10% or more. If that bill get passed, your tuition could increase. It's not gonna be right away. It's gonna be old. It's gonna be gradually. Like you might see I think more than 10%, but you might see a gradually increase of 3% one year. Then you might see another gradually increase of another 3%. You might see another gradually 3%, and then you look up at like 12%. It just might gradually increase year by year. And hopefully it's not really trying to get the money back so fast. You do it semester by semester. So this upcoming fall, we're gonna see if they increase the tuition. We're gonna see if schools increase their tuition this upcoming fall. I'll be in school this upcoming fall. Last semester though. So that's one thing about the one big beautiful bill act with some updates on it. Very important, right? It's very important. And then the last thing I said was Trump because I seen something with Trump. He closed something that was very important. He closed. It was pertaining to research and data. And this is nothing new. They've been closing things that require research and data. They have been closing it. Oh, my hands up. They have been closing it. So it's just another more just gonna be one of those things. You're not gonna have data or research. You're gonna have to, I guess, keep going to TikTok for your resources, which is not credible. Um, a lot of professionals and higher eds, I would say, people who are educated, they don't like that their data and research is going into the trash. It's literally like trash it, like trash it, just trash it, just I don't. They worked hard on it. They researched, trash it. It doesn't matter no more. Your research and data doesn't matter no more. They can go to TikTok for your data. They can go to Instagram for your data. They can go to YouTube for your data. They don't need your data. That's how it's perceived. And then educated professionals feel like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. No, you're trying to make the the educated professionals' perspective is like you're trying to make the public ignorant. Like you're trying to make them not intelligent at all. And so it's weird. Weird times. Scary times. Because a person who doesn't have their education, you thought you had to work for someone. You really gonna have to work and depend on someone. And so let's see. I'm all about going to the actual website, but I didn't see anything. Let's see if the Department of Ed posted it first and foremost. I see it here on LinkedIn, but I don't see it. Let me see. They put it on here. So, and welcome everybody to the chat. I see some people coming in. Welcome. I know it's pretty late. I appreciate y'all coming. So they did not post it on Department of Education, which they should have. But I will. Let's see. Where is it? Okay. Trump ends vital higher ed data system training. I always relate it back to the students because this always leads back to the students. How you navigate getting your education right. And so, and you don't want to waste your money going to a school you thought was credible, but it's really not credible. Then you learn like 5 years later, like your school is on decline, not the up, not the rising. So, um, it said led by the Association of Institutional Research, the professional development resources help to ensure the availability of accurate data on colleges and universities. Higher ed experts said. So hold on, this gonna fit me. Cause I go to get my higher ed data to bring to y'all. So this gonna fit me right now. So once again, it's by Jessica Blake. Um, it says the Trump administration terminated a key contract to train college officials on how to report data to the integrated post-secondary education data system, a move that could further hamper the education department data infrastructure. So, first and foremost, they said they use this to track trends in higher education enrollment, completion, financial aid usage, and other institutional characteristics, known as iPads. I use iPads a lot in graduate school. It's for some stuff. I'm not gonna say a lot, but I use it for some stuff actually. It's a survey data. They get it from, I don't know if they get it, depending on what it is, they interview students or they interview the institution. Um, a collective bunch, of course, not just one person. And so they put data together so you can know about the institution. So like demographics, what major is popular, um, why students chose this major. So then the school can actually take that. Then the school goes and take that data for marketing purposes and research purposes to advertise on the, for parents and for parents who want to know. So for all them parents out there who want to go to the biggest and best schools, you might not be getting the best and accurate information no more. So they saying this pertains to iPads. iPads is literally called iPads. iPad survey data has been long critical to higher education research, but in order to access and utilize the data, institutions need to know how to properly complete the survey, and researchers need to know how to navigate the database. That is where the Association of Institutional Research and its iPads training programs came in, or at least they used to. Man, she done wrote them off that quick. That's sad. And so it says in the social media post Thursday, AIR's executive director, who's AIR? What's AIR? AIR's executive director, Christine Keller, announced that the organization's subcontract with iPads and the National Center of Education Statistics will not be renewed for the upcoming academic year. Don't panic. It might get canceled this year, and we might not have it for the next 3 years, which is not good. But that's just 3 years of data we won't have. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, we won't have it. I can't even put nothing together off that. That's just not good. That's not good. So now when we research, now there's gonna be other places like I always tell you can go to like the only problem about it is that it can be filtered when you try to go to someone that's not. This is like government official. This is credible, highly credible, probably the most credible data you can get from somewhere. Like this is where places like for me in my career field, for me that don't know, like Inside Higher Ed, Chronicles of Higher Education, uh, Clearinghouse, many more, right? Schools. This is where they go and get their information, like we just said. And they won't, like, that's the most credible place. So it's like, where are they going to get it? Are schools going to have to pay more money and do their own research? That means they got to hire more people. But at the same time, schools are tying their budgets because they might have to pay back the loans, like we talked about. They might have to pay back loans for students who pulled out the loans. I know that sounds a little crazy, but that's what they possibly saying about the big, beautiful bill. So, but they said it's official. Like, they're not renewing it. Somebody, when you have done meaningful work with committed partners, like we just said, for more than 2 decades, it's difficult to acknowledge that it's coming to an end. Keller wrote, while this chapter is closing, AIRs, I'm trying to figure out what's AIR. Did they say that in the beginning? I feel so bad. I don't know what this is. AIR. The Association of Institutional Research. They need to keep saying that. Like, AIR, don't say that like I just know that. I don't personally just know that. It says ARR's commitment to supporting data-informed decision-making remains strong. We are actively exploring ways to continue offering select iPads training under the IRR brand to meet the needs of our community. That's good. It shouldn't stop because y'all don't get the contract or whatever. Y'all just might have to pay your own money, but you know, cash is king. But while AR intends to continue similar training models, Keller was sure to clarify that any future coaching will come at a cost. Past resources were subsidized by contract and therefore available for free. So, like I said, keep the public naive and ignorant. It was free. We can get the resources for free. Like I said, in college, I stayed getting iPads information. It was free. I can go as public information. Now, it might cost me $2.99 to get it. How bad do you really want the education? How bad do you really want the information? So, um, it's one of those gatekeeping things now. And so that's pretty much all we needed from that. It goes into detail about, like how impactful it was and the numbers and, percentages. We read the main juice of it. And so a vital higher ed data system training. Well, that's the training of it. So, which means you can't get the data of it. And so, but you probably can still get the data if we pay for it. But how many people care about education in how many people care about education in America? Just being honest, many people don't care. Many people rather watch entertainment stuff, like you know. And so it's not valuable. And I was talking to somebody actually. Before we do our last thing, we gotta do our last segment, break down the college before we go. I was talking to somebody. They were from. I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna be wrong. It starts with a G. Um, from there, it's a different country, and that's one thing I say about being in the career field / job I'm in. I get to talk to people from all different parts of the world, and they give me their perspective on here, right? Like being here in the country. I always ask them like, how is being here? Da da da. We have different values compared to other countries, of course, on a world view. And so he was talking about education because they were getting their masters. One thing I always talk about countries that I have so much in common with them is that they are getting their education. It's like it's a rare time, a rare person. Like I have barely yet. I can't even recall one person from another country that I met, unless I just don't know that many people from different countries that do not have education. They get their education from different countries. They get masters. They get the bachelors. They get the associates. They get some form of traditional education because they know that the schoolhouse just teaches you different. The schoolhouse teaches you different from like education you get on YouTube. Education you get, somewhere that you just try to get through social media. I'm not a big anti-social media person, but you need for business. People from different countries just know like your education is everything. It's gonna teach you how to think different, move different, as I like to say, how to do something, right? And then if you feel like you didn't get it, but once you get that bachelor's or that associate degree or that master's or that PhD or that law degree, whichever one you decided to get, you still know how to learn. That's what I tell people. You know how to learn. A person from like me who was in special education and couldn't read, I could tell you now, it's a different man. It's a big difference. And like you just get certain things that I can't explain. It's like another code. It's like my brain was rewired. And so like um they just appreciate it. And I said it to her, I said, you working on your education, ain't you? And she was like, yeah. They had an accent. And I was like, bachelor's? She's like, no, master's, because she was older. And then I was like, huh. Like, they don't rush now. Don't get me wrong, they don't rush. Like, they need to take time off. They'll take their time off. But they're getting it. And I tell people, I should get it. It's one thing that cannot be taken from you. Don't bring in all that race stuff. black, white, green, whatever. When anybody get their education, they can't take it from you. Don't matter who you are, they can't take it. It's just it's something you should get. And I was a big person about going to get a trade. Man, get my trade, I'm gone. Get my a certificate and I'm out. So um I just wish it was valued different. Hopefully we can change that, right? Have conversations about why you should go to college. Why should you go and get a higher education degree? Not because it pays. Like, it's so many things you can do to get paid, right? You can go, I ain't gonna name no job, but you can literally go do something that pays. Like, some, oh, nothing on me. Like, jobs pay. Jobs that don't require a degree pay, but it might not be the most fun job, but it pays. But it's not about that. Sometimes some jobs, like one of my buddies, he said now. He said now actually. He said, man, I need a job like he need a job like me because I tell him what the job I just left. I told him like, I sit down all day. He's like, you sit down? Cause he works on electrician, like for houses and programming it together so we can have electricity in the house. And I was like, cause he was like, how you watch the news all day and keep up with the stocks and what's going on? I said, sit down. I work, don't get me wrong, but I have my computer, my other computer, with the news on, and they tell me what's going on in the market. It's specific for the market, the news. Can't keep giving them advertisements. And he was like, man, I need a job like you. I need a job like you. I was like, the only way you're going to get this type of job is you go to college or get a very rare certificate, really rare certificate that lets you sit inside and sit at a desk. So it all depends on what you want, but I think everybody should at least get associates and so on. You know, you gotta get associates. You gotta get associates. That's what sets you up for success. So let's jump into the college scorecard. Um, the college. Did we see a college on here? Oh, ah, North Carolina. Something with North Carolina happened. Yikes. Um, Something happened with North Carolina, guys. It was like North Carolina is thinking about getting their own accreditation, first and foremost. They're thinking about getting their own accreditation. Once again, you ain't, I see one person in here. If you play this back, I said at the beginning that anybody can hear me. I got people next door to me. The walls are very sensitive. So, if you hear that, I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. So, let's refresh this real quick. And then let's go to. It says so. Inside, I said Henry. Inside Higher Ed said that last month, Peter Hans, president of the University North Carolina system. So who is Peter Hans? Is the real question. Let's see. He's the current president of the University of North Carolina system. He previously served as the ninth president of the North. He served as the ninth president of the North Carolina Community College System, beginning in 2018. Okay. Doing a little research on him. So Peter, The University of North Carolina system. So my thing is this only for universities or is for? I think it's for universities. I think it's for universities. Peter Hans became the seventh president of the University of North Carolina in the summer of 2020. Blah blah blah. And now the UNC system has held steady support. Okay. So he is the yep. Okay. Institutions. Yes. So yes, this is for universities. Peter Hans is the University of North Carolina system. The president of the University of North Carolina system. Oh, it's in there, the university. But sometimes they have university in there and it's not even a university. It's other schools. So he's the president of all colleges. And what he said for universities. So that means your schools that are like East Carolina University, um, North Carolina A&T, North Carolina A&T State University, North Carolina State University. That's regular. UNC Chapel Hill. So of course that's where Michael Jordan went, and the famous Tar Heels. So North Carolina State, not North Carolina State, but where is it? LinkedIn. The university system of North Carolina and North Carolina, so all the universities, are saying that they're in talks to launch their own new accreditor. They want to launch a new accreditor. So what that means? That means that I really don't know what that means exactly. Like what I'm intelling from it is like, let's see if they it's an article too. Let's see. So what that means? They said no additional details have merged. So they're just talking. They're just talking. But if they launch a new accreditor, they said we have been having a number of discussions with several other major public university systems where we are exploring the idea of creating an accreditor that would offer sound oversight. Hans said at a UNC, they just want accreditors. I thought they was gonna create their own accreditation for a second, but okay. I guess that's the way saying we're trying to do that so we don't get hit by the Trump administration because Trump administration ain't playing with higher education. They're not playing. So we're gonna do North Carolina A&T because they was one of the schools I said. I know that's a very popular school, and North Carolina A&T is a HBCU if I'm not mistaken. North North Carolina North Carolina A&T State University. Let me see. North Carolina State A&T. I know a couple of people that went to this school. A couple. One of our childhood friends, he from our city. He went to school. If this is the right one, I'm not mistaken. And they are land grant university. Yeah, North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University. Yeah, and it should be like yep, historical HBCU. Yep. All right, let's look at this. So might as well go to the tuition and fees. Got one person in here. Appreciate you being in here. Tuition and fee. All right. And so their graduation rate at North Carolina A&T State University. It's a lot to say. Their graduation rate is 55%. The midpoint is 58% for 4 years universities. Like the average rate is 58. Theirs is below that midpoint. It's 55. Um, wow. So the average annual cost at this school is $11,000. So they're coming off as significantly cheap. But let's do our research. Let's go look at their tuition and fees. Of course, we're talking about undergraduate. We know anything that's graduate and above, expensive, straight up. So unless you go to a school that's affordable. So I'm looking at their. So they have this. They made this look very complicated a little bit, but we got this though. So their fall 2025, spring 2026. Thank you for putting per semester estimate. So if you do a 12 credit hour schedule, which they need to update because in 2026 to 2027 it could be 15. But for a 12-hour credit, a 12 per credit hour schedule, you are looking at in tuition, you're looking at 1770, $1,770. Not bad. After you include fees, uh-huh. Well, apparently they charging you for student insurance value plan, which is an extra $1,000. Um, Unless you got insurance, you don't need that. Make sure you tell them to take that off. If you go to North Carolina A&T State University, don't accept insurance if you already have insurance with your parents. Um, After the tuition, fees, you're looking at oh, you're looking at 4588. You're looking at $4,000, $588. Let me say that one more time. You're looking at $4,588, and that's in state. And then that doesn't include the residence hall. That doesn't include the housing cost, and that does not include your meal cost. So they did not tell the truth about average annual costs, um, meaning not them. I fact checked that on their website. It's the U.S. Department of Education College Scorecard. It's not accurate. You're going to be paying more than that for because they said this is per semester estimate. So if we did 4,600, we gotta do 4,600. 4,600 times two is is 9,200. So they did get it right, but I like to include room and board and meal plans. So your average cost is under what they said on the college scorecard. I apologize, college scorecard. I'm sorry, but if you include the room and board and which is housing, if you include housing and meal plans, you're over that 10,000 easily. But also the university, they said the university has apartments. Hopefully it's off campus so that and they even charge you for a laundry fee. It's crazy. Hopefully you get an apartment. I don't even if the university apartment is on campus and they charging you for it, don't do it. Find you some apartments off campus. Get a little part-time job. You got this. So that's a lot of money, man. Especially for I went to school. Now I can't speak for this unless the school posted on their website. They said I know this not true. I know it's not true. But I guess the people I did talk to are like engineers. But they said the average median return for students, because the students who get financial aid there, because that's what the median earnings mean on this for college scorecard. They said after 10 years of students who receive financial aid, they're making $44,000. And you already know us, if we do tuition alone, 9,200 times four. That's $36,000. So that's a return on investment. That's a good return on investment for students. It's positive, but it's very close, right? It's very close, especially if they have to pay back the loans because they only gonna be making 44, and hopefully they didn't have to go into debt. But once again, 9,200. I think I said 96. I said we didn't even look at the daily, man. It was a lot of information today. It was a good chunk. That's why we still going right quick right now. Um, that's pretty cool. Yeah, 9,200 though for the year. 4,000 per. I don't pay 4,000 per semester in graduate school. Let's be clear. I always have to reiterate that graduate school is more expensive than undergraduate. I don't pay 4,600 per semester. My graduate school is about close to three, but that's probably halfway. It's like 25, pretty much. Maybe 26 because they raise a little bit, like 27, but 25 to 27. This is 46 per semester. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. If you got it, good. It's a HBCU. You get to experience something different, right? But if it's like I said, experience is everything. I went to historical high school, so I can understand if you want that experience at the HBCU, but at the same time, it's about your livelihood, and you can always go to the campus events on the campus and be at another school for relief. We talked about costs. We talked about their graduation rates. Students who return after their first year is about 77%. We talked about the earnings. They said they have a 46% acceptance rate, so it's pretty hard to get into their school. It's pretty hard to get into their school. And then, yup, I would start a 2 year and bridge to a 4 year, of course, in a heartbeat. I probably wouldn't even bridge to this school though, because once again, it's very expensive, just like the other schools that were expensive. We just cannot bridge there if it's too expensive because the method would not work. If you bridge from a 2 year and save money, then bridge to a 4 year, that's expensive. You defeated your purpose of going to a 2 year. You save money, but you didn't do yourself no justice. So um, that is North Carolina A&T State University. It was good talking with you all, being with you all. Play what you like. I hope you get something from it. I really do. The goal is to always relate it back to students because once again, it's your money. You have a choice. You need to navigate yourself. Don't go to school for the college experience that is so played out. Really go to a school that can help you, but also save you a lot of money. Because at the end of the day, cash is king. So remember that and apply that. And we'll see you all tomorrow.